Are we ready, Mike?
Yes.
So again, the agenda for today is around the agenda. So we talk about the recession. We're going to talk about the big secret, the truth about audience growth. I'm going to give you a framework for the 5 core functions. This comes from a guy called Alex Sharpton, who's Alex from Moses' coach, and it's a way of looking at your business. Breaking down all the problems of your business will fall under one of these categories. I'm going to give you three key systems to actually implement this, and then we're going to go through key 1, key 2, and key 3, and then we go into Q&A. Okay? Sweet. So firstly, guys, what I'd love to do, right, because everybody's a coach in here, so let's just kind of do an introduction as well. So, Bart, you are lifestyle coach, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And Chiz?
Online fitness coach.
Online fitness coach.
Marketing.
Pardon?
Marketing.
Marketing coach. Mike? It's Facebook get expert.
Marketing.
Marketing.
Personal development.
Personal development. And then Nick is a hypnotherapist, performance hypnotherapist. So all of us get clients online, right? The way that we get clients in today's world is through our personal brands. What I want to kind of just ask you guys, and feel free to jump in, is like what your frustrations are when it comes to getting clients through social media.
Lack of trust.
Lack of trust. Yep.
Frustrations.
Yeah.
I suppose for us, it's making sure that we communicate with the right people.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of fucking people on social, and frankly, I have no interest in talking to most of them.
Yeah.
And getting connected with, this is why we're doing, as you know, doing the events in person. Doing a lot of work and effort, and then finding out later on the student doesn't even have fucking 5 pence to rub together,
Yeah. So we've got targeting the right people, finding qualified leads,
Right.
and then dealing with broke leads.
Right.
Everyone deals with this shit, right?
Yeah.
Broke
Yeah.
leads.
It's just a waste. It's a time suck, isn't it? That's the thing. It's just a waste of time.
Good stuff there. What else? Mitch? Frustrations, challenges, problems that you find so far, or that it might be real experiencing right now, or something that you foresee as a challenge.
I think just consistency with posting on social media.
Mm-hmm. We're going to try and tackle these, by the way, guys. Like, what we get here is I'll try and cross them off as we go, and each part.
I suppose the other thing is knowing what to put out that will connect with your ideal clients.
Yeah.
What do they actually care about versus what we think they might think is really cool.
Well, this is it. This is exactly what this is for, right?
For me, it was also like at the beginning, I wasn't a social media guy, most of us don't be at the beginning, and friends and family is following your account, and suddenly you post about fitness, lifestyle, and all these people don't want to see it. Like you're just posting the same stuff over and over again, and when the account is not reaching and growing, how do you behave? Like, keep posting, but you don't see any growth, you don't see any engagement in your posts, and then you start questioning yourself, getting self-doubt. Like this was for me.
So having the audience of the wrong people, and then not being able to grow the audience of the right people.
Yes.
Right? Massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge, right? It's like you can post something, but if you're speaking to a room of people that don't hear fuck what you're doing, you're never going to buy, right?
Yeah.
It's a big thing we're going to go into today, because it's like, for me, I've only got like 4,500 followers. I've been doing it for 5 years. So like viral content, organic growth isn't my strong suit, but I've made over multiple 6 figures over the last 5 years and been free and traveled the world. So it's like, it's not directly correlated, but it definitely is important, and I'm going to kind of talk to you about that today. Anything else, guys? Anything else that you feel as a frustration? We've got some good ones there though. So lack of trust, communicating with the right people, targeting the right people, finding qualified leads, attracting broke leads, time investment, consistency posting, knowing what to post, audience of the wrong people, and then slow or no audience growth.
I'll say pricing your service.
Okay.
Maybe to add to that, being compared to other services that are similar.
Nice. Okay, awesome. Sweet. Cool. So again, I'm going to try and cover these so that by the end you walk away with all of the answers that you have, right? This is what this is for, so you can walk away with as much value as you can. I know that kind of you help people with this as well, right? So it's good for you for the layover. Mikkel should be here soon as well. So from a recession standpoint, so when I say recession, I don't mean the economy. Okay? I mean trust. Right? There's a trust recession right now. Too many people, the online coaching, the online consulting world has got a very, very bad name. Right? It's people have been scammed, people have invested in the programs that haven't worked, and skepticism and lack of trust is higher than ever. Okay? And the traditional model of online business is a funnel, right? Everyone knows what a funnel is, right? So funnels are kind of living by the assumption of they worked back in the day, Russell Brunson, and you're just one funnel away in business. So everybody thought a funnel is the secret. So everybody built their funnels. And it's how the frame of thinking for most people is. But the problem with funnels is that they live with the assumption that people are walking around with a credit card and that are ready to buy. When was the last time any of you went through someone's funnel and booked in a call and paid someone expensive things? No? I don't remember the last. In fact, the last time I did it was
your funnel.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a flywheel, bro. You're like the funnel, you're in a flywheel. I actually bought. So actually, when me and my old business partner were like, right, we're going to build a funnel. That's the new thing. We're like, right, where do we search? Funnels.com. Went to funnels.com, and honestly, it was called funnels.com.
It's literally just funnels.
Well, the guy sat there. He had this big. So who knows the two Common Club awards? Funnels.
Yeah.
So I met this guy, and he sat in a bag, and he had this big sign in the bag. And do you know what that means? That's a Common Club X award, which means he's made 10 million.
Right.
So him sat there, and he's like, right, where? Sat there like, this is the big secret. He's like, right, okay, guess how much you quoted me for a funnel build?
Well, I mean, who knows?
15 grand.
15 grand.
$15,000, and I said yes on the call. Me and my business partner signed up to it, thinking it'd be the solution to our problems.
Right.
Didn't fucking work. Right, because the idea that people are walking around now, say that, right, people are walking around with credit cards that are ready to buy, it's just not the model anymore. It doesn't work like that. You don't do it, I don't do it. People building your business to think people will do it isn't going to work unless you are the people who this does work for, because I don't want to kind of dispel all of it. You have big ad budgets. Ah, yes, lads. All good. Big ad budgets, big teams, and a hell of a lot of traffic. If you're building a personal brand business, and it's a small one-man band right now, or a small team, and you want something lean, you don't want to build a huge team, this model is broken. Okay? The two reasons people don't buy, number one is trust, like I just told you then. And the second thing is timing. So with funnels, again, it's on the impression that they have the trust, but it's also the right time as well. And we all know from our own experience of being in this world that sometimes there's no such thing as a right time. We know that's great, but that's not a very good objection angle, because the truth is sometimes it's just not the right time. Like legit. Right? So you can objection handle all you want, but the legitimate reason is sometimes they might trust you. They might think you're my fucking guy, but I've got a holiday next week, I've got this coming up, I've got this coming up. And the reality is, it's not the right time. So for us to build a model that actually brings both of these two things into place in 2025, and what's working the best in the marketplace in what I've seen so far, and I say this off the back of a $21,000 cash collected month in December, so what I'm saying to you isn't bullshit, right, is the idea of a flywheel. Okay? And essentially what a flywheel is under the idea that people will come into your world, some of them will be ready to buy very quickly. And we can optimize for that conversion, right? They come in here, but some people will need time. Some people just aren't ready to buy straight away. And what a flywheel does is allows you with every input you put into your flywheel, whether that is a post, a training, a message, will compound over time so that the input you put in will pay dividends in 3, 6, 12 months time. Knowing that the people that in your world, every single step that you do is going to drive them into becoming a ready to buy lead when they are ready. Not this manipulation or this hustle that we are kind of manipulating people to buy now, but it's not the right time. Is everyone following this? Does this make sense? In terms of the difference between why funnels, traditional model is probably the reason why most people start versus with a flywheel so far. Has anybody got any questions on this so far? Because I'm going to talk about this much more as we go through and what this actually looks like in terms of a content ecosystem. So what this actually is a content ecosystem. So when people come into your world, it's not they're just coming into one page and one funnel and one call. They're coming into all of it. Okay? All good? Mm-hmm. Sweet. So the next thing that we're really going to look at is this idea of big secret. I know for one that as a business coach, me investing into business mentorships, I lived with this assumption that there was a magic pill, that there was a magic strategy on the other side of this business mentor. And I literally jumped from business mentor to business mentor to business mentor until there was no mentors left. I was like, I can't work with anyone else. And it was $80,000 that I'd invested into my own development, into my own growth over the course of 5 years to realize that the big secret isn't strategy. And what I'm telling you right now is a strategy, but I'm also telling you the thing is not the secret. Because something I'll never do is bullshit people. The actual secret is how people feel when they enter your world. And the way that you make people feel is through your level of authenticity. Because of trust, we're going off the back of this idea that there is no trust in the marketplace now. What is a solution to trust? Yes, we've got like the ecosystems of the content strategies, but underneath the content strategy is this. How much can you make your audience connect with who you actually are? Truly. How can you get them to a point where they feel seen, they feel heard, and they feel understood deeply, and goosebumps, deeply, because you are fully authentic from your own heart. Because it's how you make people feel when they come into your world, which is the actual secret. And that starts with you and your ability to actually show up as the version of you who you need to be to lead the people in your world. Okay, so people will think it's a magic offer, or it's a magic strategy, but you can have all of it. If you're showing up with a mask, and it's something I call mask marketing, and I've done it, I believe that I need to show up as this version of myself in order to be loved and accepted and make more money. Versus if I can just stand here and be who the fuck I am, with the experience I've got, with the stories I have, with the personality I have, that pierces through every single strategy that you create. You found that in your growth, right? When you're just creating content. You find it in your growth. You find it in your growth, right? You guys don't have systems and strategies as much. It's just your ability to be grounded in your ability to be yourself. And that's the source. And then all of this that we're going to talk about is how do we tap into that, create a system for people to come into, but it's born on the idea that dream clients aren't found, they are created. Okay, so it's not about going out there and finding people and bringing them back in. It's about building an ecosystem and building a world, so when people enter your world, whatever reality that is, obviously for us it's in person, but online, it's a follow. So when someone comes across to you in your online space, they're coming into your world. And through that, they need ways to understand you, to get to know you, who you truly are. This is partly why we're doing this, right? Because this is like me, like you, some of you guys are from the Brotherhood, and this is kind of how animated I am in real life. I can't do this in a 30-second reel. And it's around bringing people into that so that this is your core. And there's a really fantastic kind of way of looking at this. And this is around the idea of core identity community. Okay, so something that I want to just cover, this is completely off track, but is very important. I'm not the best artist, but most people think as marketers when they're trying to create content and they're trying to think and mentalize their way of how do I show up online? How do I create a hook? How do I think my way there? And for anyone that actually is into this space will know that if you're trying to communicate from mind to mind, you'll only ever reach mind to mind. When the secret around building your world and building your audience and building this part of you is by speaking from your heart. So you know when you speak to some people sooner, like, he's saying everything right, I just don't trust the guy. Everything he's saying sounds great, but there's just something off. And then you speak to someone and you're like, fuck man, how does he, like, I don't know what he's saying, but I just feel it. I can feel how he's making me feel through his language. And this is around speaking from a heart-centered place. And this is around building an identity and a world around this place so that everybody comes into this and they feel you. And this is authentic, heart-centered communication of like, this is who I fucking am. If you like me, great. If you don't like me, all good, you can unfollow me. And then your intention, and this is around the system stuff, is around making sure that you know what that looks like and building all of the systems around that to amplify this out. So when you do have a piece of information that goes out to the world, that is an authentic signal. So when everyone catches that, they're like, fuck, who's this guy? And then they come in and then we put them into the ecosystem of content to build trust over time. Is this landing, guys? Is there any questions on this at all, like from a practical sense, like how do you do that? I see some nodding. But again, like the big secret is this more than anything. This was a big unlock for me. Because when I stopped wearing a mask, this is how you scale to 10, 30K a month. I was like, why is no one engaging? And I actually started being myself, that's when my business completely changed. Because I was showing up consistently.
So what was the journey like when you started posting content and creating?
My journey was, I just lost 23 kilograms and I went from 112 kilograms to 89. I was watching James Smith. Anyone know James Smith, online personal trainer? And I was like, motherfucker, I could do that. In my head, but being too fat, right? And it was like, I can start a business, but you can't control what you eat, right? And I had this big thing around like, I want to do it, I want to live Bali, I want to travel, but all of my internal narratives of like, you're not good enough, played out. And then I started my business as an online weight loss coach. I was called Diet Geezer. And my first videos, I'm like, hey guys, my name's Brian, this is my journey. And it was terrible. It was fucking terrible, but I've done it. And I'll do like 3 weeks consistent and then didn't post for a month. And I'll do 6 weeks and then not post for 3 months. And then I went completely off the rails, quit my job, had 8 clients, quit my job. Was like walking around Bondi like, I'm a coach. And I would walk 3 hours a day instead of working. And I would just walk listening to books. And then I ended up as a bartender and I had like fucking chaos, mate. My life was like that. To the one point when I was back in England working as a labourer, my brother on £100 a day in the -1. And at that point, I could have gone back to Australia as a recruitment consultant. I was making 6 figures as a recruitment consultant, living in Sydney in Bondi Beach in a lovely flat. And I was there and I was on a digger. I was like, what do I do? I was like, fuck it, man. If I go back to Australia, I'm going against everything I stand for. I was like, I'll suck it up. And I spent 9 months grinding. And then in September, I moved to Bali and my first 10 came on. So it wasn't easy. None of this is easy. It's simple. I'm going to give you the most simple part, but none of it's fucking easy. And again, all of you guys, the fact that you are here in Bali knows that you've had this part of your journey as well. Who feels like they've had this part of their journey? There you go. That's what we all share. Right?
Multiple times.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It will happen again. This is the thing. It's an illusion. It's not going to happen again. It will fucking happen again. That's the reality, isn't it? So, but obviously, it's just a case of, again, tapping into authentically, like, what does a life that you want to live look like? What does that truly look like? And let that be the thing, but then that be the space you communicate from. What I'm going to show you as well is around the core identity for me. So everything I do is around this idea of a freedom prayer. This is the core identity of what I stand for and what I build my business around. Because within my heart, everything I'm trying to do is create freedom for myself and for others. Everything I've always tried to do, the first minute I ever saw, before I ever even thought about being an entrepreneur, is that I want to help people and I want to travel. That was it. I wrote it down. I read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I wrote down, I want to travel the world and I want to help people. And I was like, how do I do that? Looked at trading, looked at other business online, and then it was like, oh my God, and then coaching was the answer. So it's around finding that identity in your heart and then bringing that and creating that as an identity externally for people to buy into as a long-term aspiration that essentially is from your heart. Because if you connect to that and you're a North Star, you'll never stray. You're not going to go into the marketplace for a quick money grab and then leave. Because it's your North Star. And it might iterate, it might change, but you have longevity in your business when you tie it to a North Star, not just a quick money grab. Because everything you do on that path is the foundation for where you'll be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Not changing vehicles all the time because you're doing it for money. Right? So that was the big secret, guys. The third thing is around truth about audience growth. So we have one person in here, I believe, that's built an audience. Anybody else built an audience? No. Who's tried to build an audience? Tried. Right? Social media is a fucking complex thing. Right? But you've been lied to by organic marketers. Most organic marketers are running ads to get into your world. They're saying you don't need ads, and they're running ads to get you to come into their world. And the other side of that is that this idea of like ads are risky, we can waste money on ads, it's a big complex monster I don't want to go into. And I was there for a long, long time. But essentially, like, what that done was kept me stuck. Because you like this idea of like, don't hate the player, hate the game. And it's easy for us to look around like, how is that guy doing this? How are they growing that fast? How are they doing this? Right? And the rules are the rules. The game is the game. It depends on how we choose to play and what narrative we choose to believe. Okay? And I know for a long time that I was very much in the mentality of don't run ads, just do organic. Ads are risky, let's just do organic. So how do you grow your business organically? Viral content, right? Totally different skills in itself. Trying to jump on trends. Dancing around on TikTok was never ever going to do that. It was like, I'm not going to do that, right? Jumping on trends, and then the other is cold DMs. I don't know about you guys, but I fucking hated doing that. Every single day, oh my God. And this was the actual thing that convinced me that I had ADHD at one point. Because I was like, how do I know what to do, but how can I get to the end of the week and not doing it? And I was like, I must have ADHD because I'm getting too distracted and not doing things. No, I just fucking hate it. I just hate doing that because it requires so much hustle. And this isn't a case of not working hard. It's about working smart. Because you can work as hard as you want. You can send 100 cold DMs a day, and it works. Everything works. But for me, if my value is freedom, and I want to have a business that creates flow in my life, it's not spending hours talking to people that don't want to talk to me. That's the reality of it. And it was kind of on this journey that I'd be like this. One of the things was that I'd get to this point, I'd kind of make some money, I'm like, fuck, don't do DMs again. And I'd stop doing DMs, and I'd get down here, and I'm like, fuck, I need money again. And I'd do it just enough to stop. But when I get here, I wouldn't be thinking about systems. I would just be thinking about doing not any DMs. So that kept me on this trap because it requires hustle. It requires you sitting there and doing it yourself. And as an entrepreneur, like 5 years into this now, when I realized that the reason why my business was stuck is because I was relying on hustle and relying on like the only thing I knew what to do was the thing I hated most. And I see you guys got it because it's shit work. There is a time that you do have to do it. When you're first getting started, there's a time to validate things because the only way there's two currencies, right? There's time and money. If you don't have money, you've got time, use time. If you've got money, use money, fucking quicker. Right? But it doesn't mean you have to use lots of money. It doesn't mean that you have to sit there, your arsehole squeaking, and like, oh my God, I hope it works. Right? It doesn't have to be like that. Every business, in every single industry, apart from online coaching, know that it takes investment to get a business going. There's kind of this fantasy around, oh, it's 100% profit margins in coaching, which it can be, but that mentality is the reason we keep people stuck. You can get, and this is what I'm going to show you guys around this kind of idea against ads versus organic. You can start on $5 a day, you can start on $10 a day, and you can go as much and as high as you want. And I'm going to show you what that looks like now, because the truth of that audience growth, and exactly what you said, you need an audience. If you're speaking on stage, just no one is want to buy your stuff, how are you going to sell your stuff? So like you don't have a choice. You have to be able to grow your audience with the right people, consistently. That will compound and compound and compound. Because if you don't, even this, 25% close rate, right? Everyone know about close rates? Around like if you've got 5 people and you close one of them, that's a 20% close rate, right? That means every single time you get a sale, 80% of your audience, 80% of your pipeline is falling out. So unless you are proactively filling up your audience and your pipeline all times, you might get a sale and think that's great, but then it's gone. All of your leads are gone. And that's why you can go through these periods of no sales because you're not thinking of this as a whole of the core component systems that have to happen to fill up your audience with the right people, targeting the right people, communicate with the right people. Does this make sense, guys? Are you getting value from this? Is this kind of bringing things in, yeah? Because again, it is very high level, but this is kind of where we're going to break down the actual system now. So this is where it's going to get more tactical. So the 5 core functions, some of you have seen this before, is 5 systems. Each component part is essential to the business growth. Okay, this is lead gen, lead nurture, lead conversion, delivery, and retention. So just to recap, so again, this is not my framework, it's a guy called Alex Sharfin. He owns Simple Operations. It's basically an 8-figure factory. So he's Hormosis coach, he's my mentor's coach. He's the guy that people come to go from 7 figures to 8 figures. And he installs simple systems using this framework of like any business problem you have is one of these things. Okay? And just for caveat as well, one of the things he said, install this system and then go to therapy. Nick's a therapist, hit the therapist guy, so everyone needs him. He actually helped me with this. But it was a really interesting workshop in the sense of like, your problems are either a systems problem of one of these, something in this is broken. If this is working, it's your real world. Go to therapy, do that, right? And it's like your limits are only based on your internal world and internal stories. So to break this down, guys, lead gen, in this world, right, for simplicity, for now, specifically in Instagram, this is a follow-up. New leads, because you have to have lead flow. So if there's no flow, there's nothing coming out the other side. So this is, are new people coming into my world every single day? Yes or no? If they're not, we need to fix that. How many is going to dictate the rest of this? The more in here, the more opportunity you get to this. Lead nurture. How many of those people in my world are raising their hand to be interested in working with me? Okay? If they're not, if you've got an audience but no one's coming forward, then you've got a lead nurture. If you're getting those people into your world and they're saying, "Hey Ryan, yes, I'd like to work with you," and you're getting them on a sales call and they're now buying, you have a conversion issue. They're not converting into paying clients. And then delivery is around, are you delivering on the initial promise that you're creating for your clients? Initial promise is around what is the pain that you're solving, and do you solve that within a time frame that you allow? And then the last thing is retention, which is, are the clients sticking around? Because if you do all of this and you don't get retention, you are stuck on the client hamster wheel. So in a perfect world, what your business will look like is new leads coming in every day. You'll get new followers. You're growing your audience every single day. That's growing. Because if you're not growing, this is going to dry up. Are people in your audience raising their hand, being engaged, and opening to sales conversations with you? From those sales conversations, are they then converting to paying clients? With the clients that you get, are they getting the results that you're promising? And then are they sticking around and staying? Okay, for me in December, now I actually learned this, I've been refining this for a few months. Half of my revenue was made up in retention this month, which was like a big unlock for me. I was like, wow, this is cool. That people are actually staying and sticking around and upgrading. But it's based on all of this as a whole system, right? So you're always going to be one of these things. If something's not working, it's going to be one of those things. Does this make sense? Any questions on this? Because this is kind of the container of kind of your whole business. Make sense? Sweet. So 3 key systems that we teach, or I teach inside of my business, is the proximity offer, PO, proximity offer, which is around having one offer with multiple tiers of access. Because if you have multiple offers, you have to have multiple of these, where you can't have the same offer with different marketing messages, because your audience is different, their pains are different. So for me, to keep it as simple as possible, it's one offer that's in 2 different tiers. Well, 3 tiers technically, but I've got a Mastermind and I've got an Inner Circle, where basically it's the same journey, the same destination. Everything's geared around installing this system to build a 6-figure freedom business as a freedom creator. This is my group program. And for the guys that have the budget that want to work closely and feel like they need an extra bit of one-on-one, I have my one-on-one stacked on top. But what that allows me to do is convert more people, because I have different tiers of access, different price points. The delivery is really simple for me because I have one community which I pour everything into. And the retention aspect, and this is kind of what I teach around how you position this, is that people don't come into my world expecting to have everything solved in 90 days. We solve one specific problem in one specific time frame to get them to a point, and then we shake hands and say, do you want to continue? The expectations of people that come into my world aren't expecting to end here. And that's where a lot of people come. They come in and like, right, we're going to work together for 90 days, and then you're going to be where you want to be. And the reality is, a lot of clients don't get there because everybody's different. But the expectations of that client are then unmet, which means that when the retention conversation happens, a lot of them leave because they feel like you have underdelivered or they have underperformed. Which is why this trust problem is here in the first place, because expectations aren't managed. And then the retention increases. So that's kind of a system that we use for this. That's one of the keys, but we'll cover it a bit more. What we're really going to cover in this is a hybrid IG flywheel, which we're talking about. And then the other system that I use is called the low friction sales system, which is basically the traditional funnels of ads, book a call, charge 5K, is like as high friction as it can possibly be for people. So like now to flip that is like, how do you create low friction, which is kind of through a series of small yeses, which I'll show you as we come more into the presentation. Yeah.
Why would you say that process that you just mentioned is more high friction?
Because you're asking someone that doesn't trust you to pay you a lot of money.
Even if they buy through the nurturing funnel.
Well, this is the thing, right? It's not to say you don't optimize for it.
Yeah.
It's to say it's the high friction,
Okay.
right? So it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that the likelihood of it working is slim compared to building a lower friction model, right? So we're optimizing for that. So it's not saying it doesn't work and don't do that. It's to say that if the only way you have of that, you're leaving a lot of money on the table, right? Because not everybody's in that position. So rather than only having that one way to sell, we have that part of the model, but then we build a system like this, right, where it's small yeses. Come into my world, come into my workshop, have my small offer. But not with no, okay, if you can't give me £5 I can't help you, sorry mate, next. Because then you're stuck in this hustle. I'm very anti-hustle, if you haven't figured out already. We all live in Bali, don't we? We go to Dubai if you want that. But essentially, the system that we're going to be working on, really, for the flywheel, is these: lead gen, lead nurture, and conversion. Okay, so this is kind of how we kind of get into it a little bit more. So you've got your IG. So, oh, just on the back of this one as well, audience ads. Well, Mosey talks about it. The most potent way to build a business in 2025 now is by building a personal brand and amplifying it with ads. Okay? Amplification is the key word, because you're not just trying to fucking run ads to a piece of shit. You have to get your personal brand dialed, your content dialed, and then you amplify that from a place of authenticity and you amplify that outwards, right? So in the middle of all of this is your Instagram profile, right? So your Instagram profile is your shop window. We judge, we're human beings, we have it wired, and when people come to a profile, they will judge you immediately. They will judge you on your quality of content, they'll judge you on your Instagram followers, they will judge you on your highlights, they'll judge you on your I help statement. They will judge you. And that's just the way it is. But what we want to do is make sure the right people come to our world and resonate with us immediately. That's the key. Okay? In order to grow that, again, we had the conversation about viral content, cold DMs, and yes, they work. But what I see working now and what's bringing in me, growing my audience faster than ever, is what I call audience ads. And the only thing that is geared to do is to fill up your audience. And you'll see them online. And I want you to kind of see your Instagram now through a new lens. You will get people showing up on your feed of like, hey, you're an online fitness coach, you want to grow your business? This is for you. And we will start to see people showing up in our world that are speaking directly to us. Because the only way you create this, right, again, you post content and you hope that it reaches the right people, if you have the right people in your profile, and then hopefully that actually reaches them and actually see it. Or you pay to play. You just pay to get in front of the right people. And these can be $5, $10, right? It's not about this is about the scaling aspect of it. If you don't have a ton of budget, you wouldn't put a big budget behind it. But if you are looking to consistently generate new leads in today's world, if you'd rather pay to put hack the algorithm and not rely on going viral or cold DMs, you simply pay to play. Okay? And that's allocating some budget so that you know every day you've got followers coming in. You don't even have to post, but you've got new people coming into your world that are flowing into your system so that you're giving yourself the opportunity to actually close people. Because the other way is just going viral and doing the hustle. Right? That's kind of the first thing. Any questions on that?
What's the second box?
So this is audience ads as well. Again, sorry, the two of these. So these can be like direct call to actions, direct CTA. Oh, this is like you've got your ideal client, and you'll say, hey, if you're this type of person and you're struggling with this thing, then drop me a follow and come to my blog. Right? They look like ads, but they work. They're more specific. Or the other thing you do is boost your best organic posts. So just boost your best. And that's kind of that undercover. but you know that it's taken care of with bringing people into your world. So 2 types: direct call out or just boosting your best performing posts. But the intention is simply low friction. All you're asking them to do is drop me a follow, because I solved the problem that you're looking for. For you, hey, if you're a model that's looking to grow, drop me a follow. Different industries, different prices. For me, it's quite a competitive price point because there's a lot of business coaches that will be targeting the same audience. But any kind of business consumer is really cheap at the minute. So that's the first one. So that's the lead gen. So now, once they come into this is about them coming into your ecosystem. Okay? So with the ecosystem, so there is a Google study called 7-11-4. Who's heard of this? You heard of this, yeah? You've heard of this, right? So Google have brought a study out to say that for someone to be ready to buy from you in today's economy, they need to consume, not follow, consume 7 hours of consumption of your content. They need 11 interactions, like 11 interactions across 4 touch points or platforms. I think that's right.
Just on that, because we talked about this in the session on last Monday, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I know it. I didn't know it before I met her. Right?
Yeah. I've drawn this on your website.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
why.
exactly. The 7 hours, because I do performance hypnosis, as Brian's alluded to, and I was conscious about, do those 7 hours need to be me talking to camera and then getting to know who I am, or as we're about to do at some point, launch a YouTube channel which is where you can listen to my hypnosis audios, specifically for entrepreneurs. Does that
Absolutely.
content, just hearing my voice rather than me being to camera?
So this could be YouTube, it can be audio, it can
Right.
be podcast, it
Right.
can be long form, it could be email.
Because I think that's really important to understand, because oftentimes you look at that 7 hours and think, fuck, that's a lot of content to create for someone to consume.
Yeah.
But actually, if you look at it and listen to it in a way that could be audio only, that could be, it changes the game.
100%. Well, this right now, this is going to be an hour long.
Right.
So
right.
this is an hour,
Right.
right? So example, this is a Google study. So it's all of the top creators that you come to their profile and they've got places for you to go. Right now, if people come to your world, how much content can they actually consume? The odd Instagram post, the odd reel. So it's about giving people a world to come into. But it's like Pokemon, right? When you walk around, you're creating you're making the map bigger, right? You have to build this ecosystem, because if this is a legacy business for everybody and it's a purpose-driven thing, and you really are intentionally building this thing, all of this compounds. So as long as you work on that North Star and you're building content now for the right North Star from an authentic place, it will stand the test of time. YouTube is by far the best ROI-based content you can create, return on investment, right? So you can create a short form reel and it will fucking be alive for a day. You could post that a 5-minute YouTube, it would be there for 10 years. So having, this is kind of the YouTube, right? We're going into YouTube now. Having a long form part of your ecosystem for people to consume is the biggest hack you can create, because the consumption, this is around, people can come into your world, right? They follow. This isn't the speed in which people convert isn't how long they've been following you for. It's how much have they consumed. So you might have someone come into your world and consume 7 hours of content over a weekend and then become a client. So this is building that. So when we're looking about the trust factor, it's optimize they come in, it's them. So they can find their way through, they can go to you, they can go to share videos, they can go to email, they can go through your email list. Because the hottest lead, the hottest buyer, they're gonna consume and consume and consume until they're ready to buy. So you have to create that ecosystem for them outside of just having short form. This is a shop window. This is where people will judge you. This is where you'll build your audience and the initial authority, and then that's how you'll then move them into becoming a buyer through giving them the ability to go deep from that. Does that make sense? Sweet. So from this, what I call is a mini masterclass, which is basically a VSL. Who knows what VSL is? Okay, VSL is a video sales letter. So this is basically one asset that does all of the selling for you. So rather than you have to get people on a call to try and convince them what you do and kind of talk about the program, this is how this works, having one asset that lives in your ecosystem that everything is geared towards, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like after this, so that anybody that comes through this will have a keyword or call to action, so that all of your ecosystem, your YouTube, your Instagram drives to a VSL. Your YouTube drives to a VSL. This is your YouTube video. If you haven't watched this video, watch this video. On Instagram, hey, if you haven't watched this training, watch this training. And you're sending people to one asset, and that one asset is going into the thing that I told you earlier around dream clients aren't found, they're created. This is when you're shifting all of the beliefs of who your clients might be to who they need to be in order to be in a buying position from you. So this is going to become a VSL. This is going to become a mastermind, a mini masterclass, which is going to be in my content to shift people's belief of why they need this thing. Right? So for you, for a fitness coach, it's around, hey, this is how we get this result for these people, through this, through this, through this. And anyone that comes into your world is like, hey, if you're interested in anything I do, just watch this thing. And at the end of the thing will then be a keyword. I'm going to try a password at the end of my next one, so that when they reply, let's say password will be 111, the passcode. If anybody sends me that, I know that they're pre-sold, pre-qualified, and ready to work with me. Does that make sense? Because you're feeding everyone through that. So then all of you, they come in and all you're driving traffic to is this. So when you get these, that's when you get hot, ready to buy inbound leads. And then you say, hey brother, awesome, tell me a bit where you're at. Let's have a conversation to go deeper and talk about working together. But you're sold them on who you are and how you do things. And then the actual offer conversation is logistical of like, this is how much support you get, this is how it works, this is the time frame, this is the promise, this is the bonuses. But then all of our ecosystem drives towards that. Does that make sense, yeah? So the other two components of this, so we've got our page, short form, stories, day-to-day stuff that you guys are probably already doing already. Long form to give them the bingeable content. The masterclass / VSL is to do the hard selling for you, so then you can get inbound leads. And the other two components are emails and inbox, or like DMs. Right? DM perspective, with DMs, right? Everybody knows around DMs, but this is around managing, having a way to chat to people, quick responses, voice notes, to get them to build relationships with them, to drive them into that, to drive them into a sales conversation. Not what most people's businesses is just that. That's the hustle, right? I have the page and I have my store, my DMs, and that's the only way I can get clients. And try to put them onto a call to sell them 5 expensive things. And then the other thing is around emails. When they sign up to your masterclass, they'll get them on their emails. And then with your emails, this is the key thing around this is around owned audience. So all of this is borrowed. So if you lose your account, you lose your business. Overnight. So your ability to grow your email list and focus on that, I wish I focused on it earlier in my career, is very important, because when you are promoting and doing campaigns, and that's kind of the next section, you know that you can post or send something out to the world and it will arrive in their inbox directly and they'll see it. People do check their emails, right? So it's like, they might not even read it, but they're going to see your name in their inbox. So when they're scrolling, they might delete every time, but you're still getting their name. And then those things are the 4 touch points. So when someone comes into my world and they enter my world, They're going to see me on their Instagram, they're going to see me in their DMs, they're going to see me on YouTube, they're going to see me in their emails. And they're going to have a hell of a lot of stuff that they can consume. Because the lead flow's coming in, they come into that, and then they come up the other side with this. And that is the IG5. Any questions on that? Does that make sense though? Like why what we spoke about here with the big secret, the recession, and the audience, that actually works. That, but around like, if you build that and know that you will wrap as you increase your ad spend and more people come into that, that will compound over time because of the time frame that people take to buy. So then this will increase as you go.
Yeah, it's almost like regardless if they consume information, the point is they're thinking about it.
And you'll create that. Is that get them in, and because you know you built this thing for them to consume, right? The only other thing from this is around with the low friction sales system, which is around conversions, right? Because not everyone's going to do that, but we optimize for that, right? We optimize with this so that the fast conversions can happen, and then the people that kind of need their time, eventually they'll go there. So then how do you then move the people along manually and more actively, right? Because you can do this and wait and sit and just create content. The other thing that we use is what I call like cash flow rhythms and conversion offers. So, you know, I know for me, I don't wake up every day and think, right, I need to make sales today. Because that's tiring. I'd rather zoom out on like a 6 and 8 week basis and know when I'm going to push and when I'm going to pull. Because pushing all the time is hard. Okay, so what that looks like in our world, so if we go back to our proximity offers, the other thing I didn't show you was the bottom tier, which is conversion offers, which is basically like lead magnets, but creating parts of what you do and giving it away throughout the weeks and months as a way to get these people that aren't ready to do this to step forward. But it isn't around creating something completely fucking different. You're pulling out a part of the system to give them a problem that they're solving with the next conversation of, would you like to do this? Would you like the next step? Because the next step is within the whole ecosystem. And then how that looks like on a monthly basis, you can do, depends on kind of how you do it. It's like 4, 6 or 8 weeks, but let's say you've done it on a 4-week basis. You would do value content, conversion offer on week 3, and then a client campaign on week 4. And what a client campaign is, doors are open, 5 people who want to buy. And then you actually go out there and do a high impact launch by speaking to the people, anyone that's in your email list, anyone that's in your DMs that hasn't quite offered in that, you've had a conversation with them. Most of the guys that I've worked with have been like, hey brother, got this thing, I think you'd be really good for it, would you like to have a conversation? So then they're in the ecosystem. They're not randoms, they're not cold. They're in the ecosystem, and I have ways of going and grabbing them by inviting them into the next step. So this is allowing them to choose, them to move at their own pace, but then also having ways of going out there and pulling them back in with the right intention and invitation by creating conversion offers. So like next week, I'm running this next week for my clients. And I've said, right, there's going to be open tickets. So people are going to come into my community for one day. They get to experience what it would be like. And I'll say, hey, if you would like to stick around in this, let's have a conversation. If you hear and think Ryan's a dickhead, that's cool as well. Because you can just leave the ecosystem. Because it's not about having everyone, it's about having the right people. But then all of this kind of plays into what I said earlier, but also doing the heavy lifting. So when you're not doing your day-to-day stuff around creating content, having a few conversations with people, you're building the system. You're working on some of the projects. You're working on, am I generating enough leads? No. Okay, cool. How do I generate more leads? Is it going to be ads? Is it going to be content? All right, cool. Are people actually coming forward? No. Okay, how do I actually create this ecosystem to get better people moving forward? Am I closing sales? No. Cool, there's a problem there. But you don't start fucking about your program if you haven't got leads, because you don't even have anyone to deliver the program to if you haven't got leads. So it's a way of problem solving your business, because most people will work on projects of what they want to do versus look at your business like the flow of like, where is it broken? Now I need to solve this. And then your business will grow and grow and grow and grow because you're looking at it from a lens of where is the bottleneck? How do I do my day to day and then solve that? And then once that's broken, there'll be a new bottleneck to solve. So that, guys, is it. Just trying to think around the frustrations. So pricing and competition, we didn't sort that out. But in fact, well, I said lack of trust, we've definitely done that. Connecting with the right people, we've done that. Targeting the right people, we've done that. Finding qualified leads, yes. Dealing with broke leads. So dealing with broke leads, this is in this. Hey, if you're someone that doesn't have any money to invest right now, do not mess with me. Simple as that. Yeah, that's it. Hey, if you're this person, it's like, I don't want to work with you, don't book a call.
Yeah.
If you're the person that always books freebies but never buys something, don't
Yeah.
book.
If you think this is a free therapy session, do not come in. And that's as simple as it is, though. Because it's like, and also, sorry, with this is really well, like, if you book a call manually and they haven't gone through this, you say, hey, just check this video out first before we book a call.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, before they book a call, they're either going to cancel, or they're going to say, hey, man, I'm in a financial situation. All right, cool. You either book a call or you don't. It's like sometimes I've taken calls when people say they're financially qualified, because I'm like, look, I'd rather just give back and help you, and then know that the long game, trust, not the right time. They might not. It's like any no is never a no forever. It's a no now. It's a no right now. People's financial situations change overnight, right? So it's not a case of you just need a discernment of how much of that you give. Because if you're like, again, what I do is help people make money, right? So like you're helping people make money. It's like cool. Like a lot of us help people make money in some way, shape, or form anyway, right? So it's like cool. If you're stuck right now, come on, I'll give you some strategies. If you're doing great, it means that you are the type of person I can work with. If you have no time, never go. Goodwill, we'll put some goodwill in the marketplace, and you're not going to become a client in the future anyway, because you're just not the right fit for what I'm looking for. But that's how you qualify.
I would say there's one thing that's positive about there being a lack of trust out there. That when the market is saturated with people who are doing things that are dodgy or whatever, when you stumble across someone who's genuine and authentic and is the real deal, you're going to latch onto those motherfuckers so much more and stay with them probably longer term because they're a rare commodity. So like that's how I view it as well. Like it's two-sided coin, right?
100%. And this is the game, right? It's like the more you can actually be fully transparent. And I believe that transparency is the key, right? Because again, people's bullshit really is fucking better than we even realise. If we're trying to show up in the world as somebody who we think we need to be, it's going to be something wrong. If we show up as who we are, that's when it starts to work. And that's when your client relationships have a lot more, there's a lot more trust and like space in that relationship. Whereas like, oh, it might not work straight away, fuck you mate, hasn't worked. Whereas like, they give you the benefit of the doubt. Or they'll give you more, you have a more give and take relationship with your clients because they do trust you. And they know that you're doing it, they know that you are in it for the right reason. And it's not just about money. And the money isn't the thing, it's the service that counts. Right? So that was that one. Time suck. I hope we covered that in terms of the difference between around like hosting DMs and then just paying to play.
Yeah.
Consistency in posting, we can do that next. Knowing what to post, we can do that next. Audience of wrong people and audience of growth, right? Did we answer that? You, sweet. Cool. Right, now guys, again, this is just Q&A now. And we can make a mastermind, we can chat, we can kind of see what comes up for you guys, what your insights are, what your thoughts are, how we can apply this to your business, where you think your business might be broken, or anything. I'm at your full disposal now. Yeah, man.
You said you're gonna sell these wall tickets.
Yeah, so this is going to become a private workshop.
Why don't you worry to like that these wall tickets will cannibalize the
No, because what I've given you here is all of this high level information that, and it's something that we're going to work on, because one of the things that I believe is that we're all scientists. So like this is all tested, right? This is working right now and it works. Me and Mike are going to test this as a micro offer, as a conversion offer.
And
So like this is part of the thing. So if you buy this, the next conversation is like, would you like me to help you build this? Right? So it's a conversion offer in itself. It's free for you guys, it's free for the other guys, and then it will be paid after that. If it doesn't convert as paid, it will just go back to free because it's high value. And like Mike's here doing all the recording, it's super high value. So it's like, I'm just gonna see, because it's like, if I look at it from an educated guest perspective of like, someone buys this for $7, so if you might buy this, shout out, then there's a good chance that there's going to be a lot more things that they would want from this if they are under the belief of, do I want a flywheel? Do I believe that authenticity is a key? And am I keen on running paid ads instead of asking through cold DMs? If you believe that, then there's a good chance that we might have a next conversation whenever you might be ready to have that conversation. Because the problems aren't going away. Right? So it's
There's so many different things to solve. It can take you in so many different directions.
100%, right? And it's like each component part. So like my job now is to run this for my clients next week. And I'm in the process of building playlists for all of this. So I don't know, so my story a couple of days ago, the DM box was that was a whole playlist. There's scripts, there's examples, there's theory, there's evidence. So it's like my job as the coach or the builder of this is to get this, and Mike, be partner now, because he's a content expert. So he's going to teach my clients how to create YouTube content that actually converts and grows their audience. I'm not a YouTube expert. I don't have to be. But I understand the importance of to do it, and I can recruit other experts in from my business to actually get this to fucking work. Or I can spend years trying to learn it. Right? Instagram, like emails, going to create a playbook for emails, which will be like, how do we convert people in that? Mini masterclass, this is being refined. This is why I'm doing this, because this asset has to be right. The better this asset is, the better this whole thing works. So me just talking like this, when I sit in front of the camera and talk about it next, it's going to be way more impactful. So that needs to be tested. DMs, again, it's like optimizing, how do I spend as little time in there as possible? So another one of that is ManyChat as well. It's like ManyChat is something that's involved in this. I haven't mastered that yet, so I'm not going to talk about it. But it is, I'm testing that at the minute. So
It's actually owned by Insta, isn't it? It's like a legit thing that you can use with it without it flagging up.
it's not, it's an automation tool. So like in theory, like ideally, so like what I was doing today, like looking at it today, was like, come to my Instagram. So traffic goes to Instagram. Instagram, but link in bio goes to mini masterclass. Low friction. That's like the quickest path of doing that. Come in, go there, message me that, book a call, you're in. Right? That's like the quickest thing. So like, how do we optimize for that? But then how do I then say, right, cool, if they go to YouTube, how can I still make sure that I'm getting their email address, I'm sending them to YouTube, and I'm also sending them to that as well. So then like Instagram, message me the word X, and then I'll send you, like, what's your email address? I'll send you to YouTube, which will then send you to there. So it is like this thing that works. Again, it's complicated for me to show you like this, but obviously my job is just to refine this as much as I can. But obviously you guys have your own mechanisms that you need to sell to your audience as well. Any questions? Any holes? I'd love for you to be like, try and challenge me. Like, this doesn't work. What about this? That's a contradiction.
For example, where should one start? Where should we start with a completely beginner? Like, just have an offer, our idea, our coaching business, but it's like basically just starting off.
Very, very
Do
good.
we need like to have everything already in place?
You don't need everything, right? This is to build a system that gets you 3 to 5 high-ticket clients every month, as much on autopilot as possible. This is the system. Okay, this will scale. The more you put in, the more you'll get out. When you're first starting out, your Instagram is obviously the most important part, right? Your offer, Because obviously all of this is built around a validated offer. Anyone that works with me knows the importance of the offer, right? Which is that. Do you have a converted offer that meets your marketplace where it's at? Okay, have you got 3 to 5 clients that have converted into that offer on the marketing message? Yes or no? Yes? Cool. Once you do that, then you can build this, right? Because you're still going to be creating an audience, so it's like that to that. Ideally be the quickest thing, but then you'd work on your Instagrams to drive people to your masterclass, to drive people to calls. You can't build that until you have a validated offer, right? Because you don't know the marketing message, right? So it's like build your offer, validate your offer, then build your asset, then drive all of your traffic to that asset. As you're doing that, then you can start implementing YouTube and emails over time. But yeah, to start with, that's going to be the core asset and this kind of part of it. But if you, I'd highly encourage people, like right now with YouTube, production value isn't kind of the main thing right now, especially when you're first getting started. You can create a 5-7 minute video on your phone and upload that.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at authenticity, how much of your own little twerks and little parts of you can come out in a 7-minute video versus a 30-second reel? And quite often, I know, because I kind of pay attention to this, it's not the actual value that I connect with. It's the grey in between and their personality bleeding through, which is like, oh, that's the type of guy he is, right? And then that's like the resonance. They'll come for the value, and then the connection part is built in the grey. That's kind of how I see it, and I was like, I recognize that in my mentor. I was like, oh wow, like it's just like I'm sat next to him. And I sat next to him. I was like, you're literally just like you are there. I'm like, that's cool. So like, not overcomplicate it, but knowing that the more you build, the quicker this whole thing works. Make sense?
And don't do like too professional maybe on YouTube.
Well, it's like
perfect lighting and stuff like that. Maybe just raw content.
from a content creation standpoint, I think the biggest thing that I could recommend is that what do you believe is your best content? What do you believe is your best type of content? If you believe, I know for Mike, for example, as a professional videographer, it would be a bit incongruent if he didn't have good quality content.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a level of congruency, there's a level of types of who you are in real life and what type of person you're trying to attract and finding those balances. If you are a professional guy who, let's say for you, for example, Nick, when you're going after kind of more high-end entrepreneurs, if you're walking around topless, out of shape, with a fucking Nokia 3310, no one's going to give you a lot of money, right? So there's a level of alignment and congruency that has to align, right? Modeling coach, right?
Yeah.
If you're not a model and you look shit, no one's going to trust you, are they?
And I don't
I
think-
was that chubby nutrition coach at one point, unfortunately, which is a bit shameful for me to say, but it's the way it is.
I don't think it's like 310 influence a fucking camera, so yeah,
Well,
proper shit.
There you go. You get the point.
Yeah, for sure.
Miss those days.
Yeah, man.
3380.
Mitch, anything coming to you or Theo?
What are the other two on the pyramid above?
So the pyramid at the above is your one-on-one.
Yep.
So the pyramid is based on proximity. So this is under the standard that people don't buy courses or people don't buy coaching, they buy coaches. And that people don't buy what you do, they buy who you are. And that what we can often get stuck in is that you're trying to sell a course and people aren't buying the course, they're buying you. The course is just the thing that kind of allows you to kind of externalize that. And when I shifted away from when I shifted into building a proximity offer, where my gift is my ability to give you my absolute presence and saying, this, I'm going to break down your whole business, this is exactly what you need to do, this is how you do it, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. Honoring that within me was a big unlock for me because it allowed me to actually honor the one thing that we can't get back, which is our time. So it's like working the currency of time, working the currency of energy, but also then knowing how to transition from one-to-one to a leverage model without changing anything on the front end. So what that means is that you validate your one-on-one, knowing that you're building a system so that when you're ready to, when you've got enough people in a group, you pull them together and then it splits. And then you've got, you either come into my group or you come into my one-to-one. What do you prefer? We're not moving in the same direction. We're not moving in a different direction. Everyone in this group is all around this aspirational self, this North Star. Everything I'm building is for this one community, and we're all driving this way. And based on where you're at in your journey, or what you believe that you need most right now, you can choose. Do you need the one-to-one, or would you be happy with group? Some people will come into the one-to-one because that's the only thing they can afford, or because they think that's an adequate level of support that they need where they're at on their journey. Other people will be like, fuck that, mate, I need to run one-to-one. I don't want to do that. Then give me one-to-one. Right, you for example. So I never even entertained the idea of sitting in a course.
No.
Right? It's like, I need someone to come in, tell me what to do, bring that with me, and give me very directional stuff. But what that allows you to do is maximize your profit, because you can serve a greater level of the audience, because you've built a easier, yes, like less friction framework on the back end. And then also with that, again with the conversion offers, is around the transition, and this is a big one as well, of like what you're doing with the conversion offers is moving people from audience to customer to client.
Can you distinguish the difference between customer and client? please?
Customer is someone who has bought a one-time thing of you, that you would dedicate a short amount of time to delivering on that specific thing.
So it could be a hypnosis audio for me, for example.
Yes, someone that's not just an audience member, someone that's actually paid you,
Right, okay.
right? And then a
Like a
client,
one-off type of
yeah,
thing.
and then a client is someone you can dedicate time and energy to over the course of a period of time. Right, so we like optimize, like obviously your all the way over here is your like one-on-one, your groups, these are clients. But then through this, you're building your audience and then giving people opportunities to give you money, because that's intent. So like by making offers to people, or right, like here's things you can pay for, you then gauge like where are you at? Do you like me enough to give me some money? Yes or no? Cool, no, all right, sweet. There's a hell of a less chance of you're going to become a client though, if you won't even give me $50. Why would you give me 500, like $5 grand? But some people will go there. So it's not about, like most people just that now. It does work, doesn't make money. Right, but again, it's high friction. So having something that allows people, having an ecosystem that allows people, this is more like in emails and in like campaigns. I was saying, hey, I've got this thing, it's gonna be $50, if you want to come, you get this, that, and the other. Your conversion rate of people that become customers is like 20 times higher if they paid you something. They'll be like 20 times more likely to give you more money than they are that someone that hasn't paid you to jump straight into your client offer. And again, like this is like, it sounds very tactical, but it is very principle based on how human beings are and how the marketplace is going. It's not going backwards. It's not going back to how it used to be. And it's only going to get longer. That number will get longer, that number will get longer, that will get more. People will take longer to come into here. People will find people and stay with people because they realise that most of the time it's not the thing, it's just who they were in the process. And the more mature people get, the more they'll realise that, okay, if I just find one guy who is taking me to this long-term destination, so for me, it's around domain mastery. So like my domain is client acquisition for coaches and entrepreneurs online and mindset stuff. So my clients come to me specifically for learning how to get clients. People will come to you specifically to get in shape and stay in shape, not come for a 12-week transformation and leave, if you make it that. So like they know, I'm going to delegate my fitness to Jizz, because if I pay him, I'm fit all year round. And then they're like within their life, they'll have people in their life that they will commit to know that this area, this domain is sorted because I've got my guy. I don't need more than one guy. I've got my guy. Right, so for you, obviously with the hypnotherapy, right, and the mindset stuff, it's like, it's never a case, oh, I need another hypnotherapist. It's like, right, we build a very deep relationship now so that whenever you need me, I'm here. And your client books will build up, build up, build up because you're not overselling and over-promising and under-delivering. You're building deep levels of trust and authenticity. And the expectations are that I'm not going to promise you an overnight transformation. But I can't.
Unless you're you.
Yeah. We did have a good one.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But it's around long-term relationships, like that, long-term people, long-term games, right? But building your business with that intent.
I have another question.
Yeah, man.
I also heard like from many guys that they have like free school communities.
Yeah.
So they have like traffic from IG and put them over to like the free school community to nurture them, and then reach out directly via DM.
Yeah.
And
I had that.
Maybe book a call or something like that.
Like, it does work, everything works. And a free community that I found, and you might agree with this, is around that they take a lot of time to manage, and most of the time they're audience members, they're not customers.
Yeah.
So they're not really bought in. So then building a engaged free community, what I've seen by paying attention to it all, requires a hell of a lot of traffic and a hell of a lot of audience to get people in, and a hell of a lot of work to actually then keep them engaged. I know some people do it though. Which means I'm not shitting on that. I'm just saying that for me, I had one, and like 2 months ago, I was like, fuck, it's not fucking doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm just paying for it. It's not doing anything. I'm not committing to it. It was more a pool of people, but then I have an email address.
I can also share with the experience that for some issues it makes sense. For example, some coaches and their clients, they need community. They like see through, like be in the community. For me, I don't community because work with the same coach as me, and I don't need the community. I just need implementation, fixing the problem, and that's what I help with. So like, I think it's also depends on the niche.
It might work with you, with your stuff. Me and personal development or mass market audience.
Yeah, like for example, Hamza.
Yeah.
Hamza is like.
So my mentor was his mentor, and he was basically, he's like, don't do a low ticket offer because of the churn. So it looks great on the front end of loads of people, but then they have a problem of like more people would leave than join. So like it's like constant like juggling of having to get loads of clients because loads of people, they're shit, not shit people, anything that, but quality of client from a business perspective, they're not long-term customers playing long-term games. They're like low quality, they're seeking quick fixes. Whereas what we know, there is no such thing as a quick fix. So if you're selling a quick fix, you're going to get someone who believes there's a quick fix, and then when they're disillusioned, they're going to leave. So that means if you come in like,
blame people.
yeah,
Yeah, they don't get it.
100%.
Yeah.
They'll deflect. It's not me, it's that. Right? We all deflect. We don't want to be like it's us. Again, that's the whole thing around the big secret. The big secret is there's no secrets other than your ability to actually be self-led, be authentic, and be a leader and embody your transformation. Be the transformation. That's the most authentic you can be, is being the transformation that you offer. Because it says a hell of a lot more than words. That's what I say to you, right? Is that you do it fantastically well. You don't even say much anyway, but people sign up with you because you just embody what it is that you do, right? It's like amplification of that, which is obviously for you, right? How do we amplify this? How do we take you in your fullest form and then build an offer that emulates who you are and what you do better than any before, validate that, and then build the ecosystems around that so we're just amplifying this to the world. So the right people will find it, but they'll come into a place of truth, authenticity, and then all of the expectations are met and then exceeded, and then once the expectations are exceeded, then the retention activates because they're like, oh wow, this is a great service, I'm found, I belong, I'm exactly where I need to be for this specific domain of my life, why would I go elsewhere?
Interpretation that's more high level and more about internal business. So to make the product outstanding compared to competitors, and in your case, you invited someone with expert.
Yeah.
How do you create a deal with people that are experts and that maybe not need you but how you like invite into your company, into like working with you and giving and creating these outstanding offers.
So, if you go back to like domain mastery, of like, okay, like, what specifically is your domain that you are expert in?
Ads.
Ads. Okay, for example, ads, right? How do you then find someone who doesn't have that domain mastery, that has mastery in other areas that you might not necessarily have, that would amplify that?
Yeah,
For example,
I found, so I have a friend who is organic
Yeah.
content coach, and we kind of found a deal how we can work together in his offer, but I realized that I don't really need him because everything he knows in organic, I know actually too.
So I challenge you, like, is that a good deal for you?
Yeah, no, like it's a good deal for me to be in his offer, but like I'm worried like if I need him in my offer.
Well, sometimes this is the thing, right? Like, just because you can doesn't mean it's the only thing. Like Mike, for example,
Yeah.
Mike knows how to do offers, but my expertise isn't good.
Mhm.
That's what I'm very good at. I'm very good at seeing a human being and understanding this is what the marketplace will see in you, turn it into an offer, right? So it's like, because I was struggling before, like I want. That's my domain of mastery, I believe, in kind of the scope that we're working on. I wanted my marketing message to be that. But the reality is, most of my people that want to buy don't want to believe that their offer is the problem.
Mhm.
They want to believe that leads to their problem. So that I was like trying to fucking force this thing into my market of like, offers are a problem. And yes, it brought some good quality clients through, but it didn't bring as many leads flow through because they didn't believe it was a problem. Does that make sense? So it's like, even though it was my domain of mastery and I wanted it to be, the reality is lead generation and acquisition from my ideal client right now is where I'm at from my place of truth, and not me trying to overshoot and trying to go after someone that I can't attract. Because like, you attract who you are, not what you want. No, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are.
Yeah.
So like honoring that, like, where am I? Knowing that I'm going to be there one day, but where am I at right now? And then looking at where your skill gaps are of what you're very good at, but then what you can double down on and let someone else do something that they're just as good at. Like Mike, for example, we're partnering up because he's an expert in ads, and I'm not. And I could spend months trying to learn it, and I do teach it within this, which is very simple ad setups. But if I want to go to 100 grand a month, then maybe it might be a different expertise that I need in that space. So it's like, what game is that people playing?
And how do you find the win-win story for both sides? It's not like you making the deal.
Yeah, I think it's a very nuanced question, right?
It's either a deal or cash.
Yeah, the thing is the win-win. Like, there's
Good
obviously,
exchange.
how do you make an offer, right? Like, what is that offer? Is it going to be rev share? Is it going to be cash down? Depending on what you need to know what a win-win is for you and what a win-win is for them, and then create that being creative with your own offer, right? That's what offers are. Any offer is a win-win. You give me 5 grand, and I'll teach you how to make 100 grand. Do you know what I mean? So like, all we do is make offers. Again, for us, it was very much a skill share around like, I'll treat you as a client, you treat me as a client, because I need that and you need what I have. So it wasn't necessarily like, we're going to partner together and do the thing. It's like, you just treat me as a client and I'll treat you as a client. You know what I mean? So like, I'll run your ads if you teach me the thing that I need.
I haven't seen this perspective. So.
Yeah. It's got to be the right person. Though. Got to be trust. Obviously, for you guys in this room, there's a level of trust that we all have from the brotherhood and the parts that we have. So there's a deeper level of trust that I have with people in my world. I've done it with people in the past out of insecurity and irresponsibility, trying to offload something that I didn't want to take control over, give it to someone, and they're not the right fit, and then it's kind of crumbled around. So it's like there's nuance to it. But I just think that just find the win-win. I wouldn't rush it, but just call it in. If it works, it works. To honour your skills. Know that like I think the easy one, like know what you can bring, and then be like, look through like right, I can help you. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions, guys? We can round it up.
What about pricing? Frustrations.
Oh, pricing. I always price in momentum. I think momentum pricing is the most important thing. Momentum-based pricing. So you getting into momentum and the velocity of sale that you make is super important. So this is a good point actually. So when I first heard this, I was like, it makes a lot of sense, but I'm not limiting the beliefs around it in my marketplace. So, momentum-based pricing is that intuitively you know some price point right now that is the perfect price point for you, where you're at. You'll also know that if you're trying to overcharge internally, you'll be like, you have your like your warning signals within you, your off point, and whatever that price is, your level of two things that matter most in your offer is your level of conviction and your level of congruency. These are the only two things that really matter. It's not really about the price. It's about how much you are, how much conviction do you have in what you do, and how congruent is that in who you are. And then basing your modeling pricing off that, I always see it like this. So I teach my clients like phase-based pricing. So if we're going to launch a new offer, for example, I would say, what do you think it's worth? And you might say £1,000. I'd say, well, let's do 800 for the first two. So you intuitively know you're over-delivering. So when you say to someone that, you know it. It's not like, picking on the group. Because you know, it has to be anchored in that. Like, it's fucking worth that. Just, you got £5,000? Like, shit.
I think it's also it's all up in here. Like, the
100%.
market will validate whether they think it's valuable and they're willing to pay for it. But I mean, when I, because we're similar, I used to do weight loss coaching many years ago now, and when I first started, I charged 150 quid for a 12-week program, right? I then pivoted and started charging, yeah, it's crazy. Then started charging, aiming at CEOs and caliber people, and the same program, £5,000, right? The only difference between that and that was this. The only difference. The market will obviously come back to you and say, fuck you, or say, yes, I'll pay for that, right? But the only difference is that, and what you're saying there is 100%. You walk up to it and go, do you want to pay 5,000? Like, they're going to tell you to fuck off, because they know.
Fuck off, mate.
Yeah, exactly, like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I 100% agree with that. It's all internal.
And this is the thing as well, right? It's like your price is based on the problem that you're solving, it's relative. So it's like, if you come to me, right, and we're going to make 100 grand a year, right, and you pay me 5k, right, what's that ROI? If you're not making 100 grand a year right now, paying 5 grand is a pretty good deal, right? Because you're solving a 100 grand problem. And I know that's relatively easier in my world, right, where I work on numbers, but a lot of us do work in business, in relative business stuff. But like, what's the ROI that you're charging, but then what's the cost of inaction as well? So like, your cost of inaction for you is like, when you're having a conversation with people, it's like, cool, like, what's it worth to you? Like, right now, you have bad habits, you're having bad sleep, you don't know how to exercise, you look at yourself in the mirror every day and feel ashamed about how you look. You don't want to fucking shut, you don't want to have sex with your missus because you feel too ashamed about your body. Like, what's that actually worth to you? Right, so it's like, it is ours, but then it's how our world receives it. But again, like, from a pricing comparison, I'd never, ever, ever compare your price to anybody else, number one. I'd never compare, never justify, because you lose frame. Right, if you went to a car dealership, or like, what car, that's a bad example. But as soon as you start to justify why your price is the price, you lose your frame, you lose your authority. It's like, well, we're not talking about sales here, but that's a different conversation. But does that help in terms of pricing? Around, like, it's more about the energy around the pricing, and intuitively know what that is. But I would always just underprice and get into momentum, because let's say you do 2, 3, 4, like the first 2 people are 800, the next 3 people are 1,000. What that allows you to do, you've got 5 clients to feed into your marketing. So now, instead of you trying to market, you just talk about what you do. So your content becomes, hey, this is what we've done in this session this week. Authentic content, right? You're not like, here's 3 tips on how to lose weight. My client James was struggling with this, this, and this, and we actually simplified his whole workout routine, so he actually can do it in 3 45-minute sessions a week, in his lunch break, and he actually lost 5 kgs in the last 6 weeks, and he hasn't changed anything about eats. If you want the same results as James, message me the word now. Do you know what I mean? So you're using what you have. Like, for me now, this is content. I've just run a workshop on how I broke down this, and this. It's like demonstration versus marketing. That's been a big thing for me. But again, it's like momentum, being in momentum is such an important energy to protect and look after. Because you know when you're in momentum, it's like bam, bam, things happen, you're making confident your sales, you know you're in demand and it feels great. If you go through a period without getting sales, the confidence dips and everything becomes harder. So playing the long game, playing the game of momentum and sales velocity of getting things, even if you might be undercharging, will do better for you in the long run than waiting weeks for a session and then getting a spike hit. Because that's kind of what that can look like. Versus like that. So that's a lot better journey than that. I thought, what am I doing? Oh, this isn't working. Oh yes. Woo! Spend money. But yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you so much. I really want to say thank you for this has been super helpful for me. I hope you've taken value from it. For the guys that I'm not actually working with, everyone that's come here, I want to offer you a free one-on-one to like actually go deeper on this. Because again, like this is great in person, but I want to offer everyone. If you want it, if you want it, great. If you don't, take it, David. You're more than welcome to grab one as well, and Theo as well, to like apply this. Because again, the better I get at taking that and actually installing it into you, the better my business is in the long run. And I want to say a thank you and offer that to every single one of you if you would like it. Because again, this is very high level, but it's like, where do I start? What's the thing that I need now to kind of get the snowball rolling? Okay? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we need to fix that air conditioning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did that second.
Yeah, you're in the cool car. That's the hot area. Guys,
It was hot for a second.
could also, as a thank you,
You were like sitting
jump in front of the camera quickly.